Hi, my name is Kendall Wallace. I'm from Wilmington, Ohio, born and raised. Currently, I work part-time at a dispensary in Ohio, a medical dispensary. We sell medical marijuana. And then I also work part-time as a tattoo artist. I definitely would like to say that my full-time job is tattooing. I'm in the process of trying to, one, teach myself. I did spend a small amount of time in a tattoo shop, did not have a great experience. So decided to take it out on my own, and I'm currently learning by myself, trying to teach myself and get along that way. I know that in the tattoo industry, there's a lot of stipulations, a lot of negativity towards people who do teach themselves, which I do understand. There are a lot of things that you can miss while you're learning by yourself. There are a lot of precautions and procedures that you might not learn unless you go out and ask other artists or go out and take programs and do things like that to be able to learn those things. And in my case, in Ohio, you only need 2 licenses. You need your bloodborne pathogen license and your AED CPR license, which I do have both. I did get both of those a couple months ago before I even started doing any of this, because I wanted to make sure I knew all of the health procedures that needed to be done. So for a really long time growing up, I actually wanted to open a bakery. I really wanted to open an edible bakery where I would be able to infuse THC and CBD into baked goods, coffees, different things like that. That was one really big dream of mine, just because I thought that was the best path for my life, and I wasn't always super confident in my art ability. It took me a few years before I actually decided that, hey, this is actually something I really want to be into. It did cross my mind several times because growing up, my father, who was never and is not in my life whatsoever, was a tattoo artist. I believe still currently is a tattoo artist. So I did see that from time to time while growing up and thought it was really interesting. I also had a great aunt who was very, very good at art. She was in several art museums all throughout Ohio, a lot of different groups that she was in for very profound artists. She knew a lot of really famous people and famous artists. And so I think that's something that's always drove me into the love of art itself. Around, I want to say 2 years ago, I started working at an office job, which was really boring. I spent most of my time sitting at a desk calling people on my computer, and I absolutely hated that. It was really boring. I had all this extra time where I was just not doing anything. So I decided to pull out pieces of paper, little scraps of paper, and I started drawing. Just started drawing all the time while I was taking my calls and on my computer. And it became like a daily thing. It became every single day I was sitting down to draw. My coworkers were waiting to see what I was drawing, waiting to see what I was going to do that day, because then I would take them and tape them up on the wall. And at one point it ended up getting to where my boss got a little irritated with me drawing all day long. Of course, I was still doing my job, but he was a little irritated with me drawing all day long. So I took a little break, and we had a rule: we were no longer allowed to draw in the office, which really sucked for me because that was a lot of fun. But the next thing I did, I bought an iPad and went into it that way. I downloaded Procreate, which is a very popular app for any artist to use, not just tattoo artists, but artists in general, and started going that way and trying to come up with all my own drawings and things that I actually wanted to tattoo, because at this point I still don't really know what my style is. I absolutely love doing color. Those are my favorite. When people ask for a color tattoo, that makes me really excited. I love that so much. But at this point in time, I am just learning and doing as much as I possibly can so that my technique can get better. I started out with a small little tattoo gun I bought off of Amazon. I started just kind of practicing on some fake skin. I had one, of course, I did a few tattoos on myself along with my boyfriend. He has a few of my tattoos. I started with people who knew and trusted me, of course, because you don't want to just go out and start tattooing random people and not knowing what you're doing or anything like that. So I did have a few friends who trusted me a lot, enough that they were willing to come over and let me practice on them. But of course, during that time, you have to keep in mind, I did have my licenses and I have been keeping it clean. I do follow all the procedures that you need to in Ohio. It's just, you have to learn it some way. It's very hard to get an apprenticeship for some people. It can be very difficult in this industry just because of all of the stigmas and just kind of hate that's out there, which is unfortunate, especially in an industry where you're based off of creativity. It's something hard for you to get over. It was something really hard for me to get past when I decided to start this YouTube and start posting on my Instagram. That was a really big decision for me to actually decide to do that, because I was afraid of all of the hate comments and all of the crap that I was going to get from people in the industry, which is unfortunate. I wish that this was more of an industry where people shared a little bit more love and more knowledge and were willing to help and teach other people without making them spend 2 years not making any money and just working their ass off. So currently my future goals are having my own personal studio. I have thought about trying to go back to another shop and learning that way and trying to get into it that way. But I had such a bad experience the first time that I feel like it would be better if I just tried to open up an own personal studio, or open my own shop eventually, hopefully, to allow other artists into it, to show them that the environment, that it doesn't always have to be the same. Not every tattoo shop is the same. Not every person who's in the tattoo industry is the same. I don't think that you should have to go through a horrible 2-year experience of an apprenticeship where you get treated like crap and you don't get paid for anything. Because when I started in a shop, when I went to a shop, I was told that they were going to treat me like crap, that they were not going to be nice to me, because that's how apprentices should be treated. And I don't think that's right. That's why a lot of people can't even get into the industry themselves. That's why a lot of people are quote unquote scratchers, because it is so hard to get into the industry because people are so negative. So I want to create and experience a shop where people feel like they can come and learn and come be a part of it and feel like it's an open and positive space, rather than feeling all of these negative effects all the time from the artists that are around you, that surround you, that are in the industry. So the best way to get in contact with me is through my Instagram. There is a link in my YouTube bio for my Instagram or my Facebook. There's also an email connected to there. Any one of those 3 ways is the best way to get a hold of me. And to book tattoos, it's normal, just like any other tattoo artist. You message me, let me know what you want, everything like that. We'll go through it, we can talk about it, and we'll go from there. But check out my Instagram. It does show off a lot of my other work that you also see here on YouTube, but you can see the photos and a little bit more about me on there. And then my Facebook is more just a personal Facebook that you'll just see.